something I'm scared of? Well, I suppose monsters. There are many types of monsters in this world. Monsters who will not show themselves and who cause trouble. Monsters who abduct children. Monsters who devour dreams. Monsters who suck blood. And monsters who always tell lies. Lying monsters are a real nuisance. They are much more cunning than other monsters.
They pose as humans, even though they have no understanding of the human heart. They eat, even though they've never experienced hunger. They study, even though they have no interest in academics. They seek friendship, even though they do not know how to love. If I were to encounter such a monster, I would likely be eaten by it. Because in truth, I am that monster.
A challenge run, a popular niche in the gaming spaces where players who are very passionate about a game take it upon themselves to make the game they are playing much more challenging than what it is. Is it out of love, out of content, out of enjoyment, or out of entertainment? Well, nobody really knows, as it varies per each person, but these runs usually require a lot of knowledge out of the game to succeed at doing them. For example, one of my most favorite challenge runs I've seen on YouTube comes from GameChamp 3000, who did Can You Beat Kingdom Hearts at level 1 around 6 years ago. In order for a run like this to go smoothly, you need nearly all the ins and outs about the game mapped. Boss patterns need to be down to a T, knowing which specific Keyblade abilities would be better for certain fights, as well as utilizing everything the game has to offer to the fullest. And I mean everything. Things that may seem inconsequential in an average person's playthrough could be the make or break while doing a run like this. Now going back into my field, which is Persona games and other ATLUS releases, I've done my fair share of runs I'm pretty proud of. One thing I like about my runs is even though I always do them on PC, they can actually be completed on real hardware. Even my no skill run, which I successfully beat in Persona 3 FES about a year ago, where I modded out all the AI skills to make sure they wouldn't use them, you could still do this run successfully on real hardware since you can just use the rush command instead. Doing runs on PC is mostly just for the sake of time saving, as I am still a broke-ass college student. But I'm getting sidetracked. The main point I wanted to say is, unfortunately, there is one thing I've noticed at the end of all my runs that I keep doing. Grinding. At the end of the day, if you are limiting yourself extremely and you're using niche resources to get by, well, if those niche resources start looking a little low, you're gonna fall back on the most classic thing all JRPG players do, increase your level. That's why, even looking at some of the runs I've got planned in the future, all of them can kind of be beaten by just over-leveling the boss unless I actively put a rule against that. That's why I feel there is one challenge in a JRPG that is always going to maintain its difficulty and is the best showing of a player's knowledge of a game. It doesn't involve any hard difficulty modifications where you change how the game works or any additional rules, nothing like that. It's a very simple challenge at heart that can be completed on both real hardware and PC. A minimum EXP run. Other synonymous words for this would be a low level or a mandatory battles run. I wanted to do my own low level one for quite a while now to get that feeling of truly having my back against the wall and left with nothing but my own knowledge of these games as my resource. However, I don't like doing runs that have already been completed before, so this had me researching other low-level runs people have already completed in the Persona series to see what I can try and aim for. Looking at Persona 5 Royal first, many have attempted and completed a low-level run, most notably Haven, finishing his run at level 77 as he pretty much did it with ease. In terms of Persona 5 Vanilla, I found one playlist from JRPG Fanatic 9 years ago who managed to get decently far all the way to Sai. But he never uploaded anything past that, and he also said in his description, if I can easily avoid enemies, I will, but I will not go out of my way to avoid battles, which means the level he was at for Sai could have been slightly lower. So after a full day of researching for a successfully completed Vanilla 5 lowest level run, I couldn't really find anything. Keep that in the back of your mind. Anyway, let's move on to Persona 3. Ragnar successfully completed a low-level run of Persona 3 Reload, also with relative ease, ending at around level 80. Seems both new Sona games give pretty good experience even on mandatory battles. But let's take a look at the more older versions of the game now. Persona 3 Portable's low-level run was successfully completed by Biraki, ending the run at 44. They did fight the Reaper before Nyx as well, meaning it could have been even lower. Now, moving on to Persona 3 FES, that's when things really get interesting. This run has been attempted a total of 5 times alone that I found while researching. Let's go in the order based on the oldest attempted. The first mandatory battles run was attempted by Nitsuya over 3 years ago. Though the run was on easy, it was extremely impressive to successfully manage getting all the way to Nyx at level 48, as the first person to ever do it. Unfortunately, he refused to continue as the fight itself would take way too long just for a failed attempt. But he did pave the way for other people to attempt the run as more information about the game became more accessible as the years went on. The next to attempt this run would be Yuzu, finishing the run at level 70 as the first to ever complete the low level run. And from then on, each attempt just seemed to get better and better. Bubble Tea would follow up with his own run, ending at a lower number of 64. And then finally, a new record came out the shadows only 9 months ago from Jokerness, who was able to beat the game at the current lowest 46. The level was so low that they needed to use the party member mod to accomplish actually beating Nyx, which just shows the severity of how hard a true low level run really is during this era of Persona games. And now we move on to Persona 4, the focus of this video. Persona 4 Golden of course was completed again by Ragnar. Because Persona 4 Golden has a very hard option, he was able to cut his EXP down even more. So he finished the game at probably the lowest level I've ever seen a run get completed at, an impressive 34. And when I went to go look for Vanilla 4, well, yeah, you can guess that I couldn't really find diddly squat about it. And that's just speaking general about the game. I couldn't even find people playing it at all, let alone a low-level run. And since Revival is coming out, I figured it'd be a great time to revisit the classic version of Persona 4 and give it some good old challenge run attention, as I would be the first person ever to complete a low-level run of Persona 4 Vanilla. So I started prepping, getting the run ready. I was very excited to start this until I realized something.
I was gonna do a low-level run for OGP4. You think I can pull it off? I think the toughest thing about a low-level run in P4 is that if you're going to fully commit to minimum battles, then you're never gonna get shuffle time. There's never a forced shuffle time tutorial, which means that you're gonna be stuck with Izanagi for the whole game if you do a true mandatory battles only.
Fuck. And yeah, T was right. I entirely forgot that Persona 4 doesn't give you a forced shuffle time encounter like 3 and 5. And while I did want to do this run, I'm gonna be honest, the whole point of a low level run is to try and test your knowledge on how far you can get in the game without relying on EXP and levels. So this means everything should be on the table, like social links, persona fusion, grinding items and other abilities, all that kind of stuff. So doing this without persona fusion kind of just turns into item grinding, and in my opinion, that's just boring. Using Ragnar's golden run for an example, most of his damage came from the Magatamas which he grinded for, and while I don't really mind grinding for items, I don't want to have that as my entire damage source, you know? So I wasn't exactly keen on it, and then I realized something. The gold hands. Gold hands in Persona 4 Golden give bucket loads of experience points and money, but back on the original Persona 4, these things would only give 1 experience point. So even though it's technically not mandatory battles anymore, I could still be at the lowest possible level and trigger shuffle time off killing a singular golden hand. So with all that out the way, yeah, here we are. Sorry, I know that was quite a long intro, but yeah, before we get into the run, all music used in this video is in the description, and I have a playlist of every single fight I did on this run for people that want to nerd out and look at all my raw footage and see my thought process in high detail of how I decided to tackle each challenge in the game. Lastly, this is not an accurate retelling of Persona 4 as I've played this game too many times to count, so yeah. With all that out the way, I asked the question, can you beat Persona 4 at the lowest level possible?
Oh, Big Bro!
Hey, Nanako. How's it going? Wait a second. What show is that? Wait a second. I think I've seen this before. Manta Sleep? Are we in an ad?
Sorry, Narukami, but it's too late. This video is sponsored by Manta Sleep. With all the script writing and editing I do for videos like this, there are definitely nights where I'm just exhausted and want to knock out. But even when I'm tired, the light coming from my windows can make it annoyingly difficult to get that complete darkness I want when I'm trying to sleep. That's where the Manta sleep mask has actually been coming in clutch for me. Once I put it on, it completely blocks out all the light around me and gives me that pitch black feeling I love without having to turn my entire room into a dungeon. It's also great if you want to take a nap during the day, when you're traveling, or you're just someone who wants complete darkness to sleep. And one thing I really like that Manta Sleep threw in for me is the white noise machine. I'm a person who literally cannot sleep in complete silence. I always have to have a fan on or rain sounds, and I usually have to keep my phone on for that the entire night. So now I have an actual designated machine to help me do that. And if you're worried about not having enough selections, they give you 15 different sounds to choose from, so you always have nice variety when picking for something. So if this sounds like something you could use, check out Manta Sleep using the link in the description, and use my code legendary7 to get yourself 10% off from any Manta Sleep product. Thank you to Manta Sleep for sponsoring this video, and let's get back to the run.
We are living our lives, but with so much information.
We start the run, I pick my difficulty, which is of course going to be expert, and we wake up in a limousine. I type out my name, which is something of course relative to the challenge, and I call myself Low Level Coon. We get to the game's long intro, have a creepy dream, and oh yeah, this is where I should mention save states. I will be using them a lot throughout this entire run to make sure that I'm not missing anything, and every single day is maximized where I'm getting the correct answers and all that kind of stuff. I will also be using it for fusion, and I will be using it for RNG and dungeons, mainly for pulling specific items that I'm going to need, but in terms of battles, I'm not going to be using save states in battle, as that kind of undermines the whole point of the challenge. After some time passes and another victim is found dead in the real world, we eventually head into the TV, and we get Yu's Badass Awakening. And yes, I know Revival looked really good with Mappa, but I really missed this scream, man. I really missed that fucking scream. On to our first fight against two Lying Hablary. We get our first level up of the run, going from level 1 to level 2. Yosuke denies a shadow, and now it's time for Shadow Yosuke. I'm not going to talk about this fight much, as it's mostly just a guarding tutorial. We guard when he's about to do a wind attack, and knock him down using his weakness of electricity. I try to save my medicines, as I don't want to use too many of them, since this run is going to be very resource heavy. So yeah, I end up finishing the fight, and I get to level 4. So it looks like we'll be fighting Chie at that level. Before heading into the TV world, we have an option to buy stuff at Diodara's, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not spending shit at this fucking place. We already are pretty broke as it is, and money is gonna be extremely important in this game for pretty much buying back personas, as once I pick up my one shuffle time persona, the only way I'm gonna be able to get new personas is from fusion. And how do I do that? From buying other personas in the comp. So I'm gonna need to be pretty much rich, and yeah, we don't have time to be spending on puny armor and puny weapons that probably won't even get used. If I'm going to get some armor, it's most likely going to be a pickup in the TV world. And I don't even really need to purchase anything from the Shiroku store today, as going to beat Shadow Chie shouldn't be too demanding. So let's just head into the TV world already. Now, if you're wondering how I avoid shadows and other encounters, all I have to do is just make sure I hit the ambush and you can escape guaranteed. That mostly works for, I want to say, all Persona games, because I know 3 works like that, and I know it works like that for 4. I'm not entirely sure if it works like that for 5, but yeah, so that's mostly what I do. Now, that doesn't mean things always go well, though, because these shadows have very fast reaction times, and they do not like being ambushed. I mean, if I even get close in the radius, they instantly turn around on some 360 shit. I'm serious. You would think these like freaking shadows are like coked up on something. Like, I need whatever you're taking, man, because their reactions are just off the charts. Golden thankfully fixed this and made them their reaction time slightly slower so you can actually get the ambush. But in this game, they're just on crack. So a lot of the times I have to put save states on the floor. So just in case things go bad, like Yosuke here. What are you doing, Yosuke? Holy shit, I forgot to put him on direct commands. No, we're not doing that today. You can save that for Shadow Chie. Eventually, when we get to the floor, Shadow Chie is relatively a joke. The level difference isn't really hurting yet, and all we have to do is just use Rakunda with the MC to lower her defense, and use Yosuke to do wind attacks and hit her weakness. She'll sometimes put up some walls to try to protect herself, but once they wear down, she's back to just being relatively simple, and as long as you guard her electricity attack with Yosuke, she has nothing threatening at all. This fight brings us from level 4 to level 6, as that will be what we have to fight the Avenger Knight on, as Yosuke also goes to level 5. Now that we had free time, I'm sure you guys are thinking I'm about to start working on some social links, as this could help me get some good boosts when I kill the gold hand in Yukiko's and get a shuffle time off of it. Well, that is what I would do if the gold hand actually appeared in Yukiko's castle. In vanilla, they don't show up till Kanji's, so I'm stuck with Izanagi until I'm pretty much done with Yukiko's arc, which kind of blows, I'm not gonna lie. So with that being how the way things are, there's no point of me doing social links this early, and I should just hurry up and clear the dungeon as quick as possible. I don't even buy anything from Shiroko again. I just buy some tap sodas because I know we're gonna get beat up on our way trying to escape these shadows, and Yosuke is gonna be using a lot of magic in menu. My goal for today was at least to make it to the Avenger Knight and give him a few attempts and see how it goes, and I'll just move on from there. Now, when I say this is hell, this is hell. Every single floor I have to put down a save state because it's just dangerous. Even when we do get the ambushes and we run away, there's a shadow right down the next corner, and even when it looks like I should have got the ambush, I don't get it. And if someone takes too much damage and they're just dead, I usually just kind of load back the save state to the beginning of the floor, and I do it again to make sure I get out more cleaner, because our resources are already on a thin line. I don't need these shadows getting in my way, making things even harder, because I already know the Avenger Knight is going to kick the living shit out of me. Oh yeah, this is the best time to give a crash course on how dungeons work in Persona 4 Vanilla compared to Persona 4 Golden. So whenever you go to a dungeon in Persona 4 on that day, once you fully explore that dungeon, it is set. You cannot reset that dungeon for that day. Meaning if there was 15 chests you grabbed, those 15 chests you grabbed are the only chests you're going to be able to get for that day. Now, Golden is completely different, as you can kind of just walk out the dungeon and then walk back in and all the floors are reset, meaning you can infinitely item grind as early as Yukiko's. Now, don't worry, I can still item grind in this run, I just have to wait for Kanji's dungeon to open up. See, how item resetting works in this game is if you fully explore a dungeon, right? Let's say I fully explored Yukiko's, leave, then go to Kanji's first floor and come back to Yukiko's, the whole dungeon will be reset like I went home. So once Kanji's open up, at least I'll be able to fully grind items to my heart's content. But as for right now, we're very limited on chest resources. So whenever I open a chest, it needs to be something I actually want. Luckily, we have save states for that. By looking at this neat little Megaten site, I can see what floor has a high drop rate of each item. For example, magic mirrors are most likely to spawn on floor 7, whereas on floor 6 you can find supersonics. These are definitely going to be items I'm going to need the entire run, so you're going to see me go back to Yukiko's castle a lot. As for right now though, I only have access to 1 through 5, which doesn't have too much good stuff, so I need to hurry up and beat the Avenger Knight first, and then I can start doing my item grind. My first few attempts on the night don't go too well. My main problem off the get-go that I'm realizing is that I need to go all in on damage and not really give a fuck about defense. Any type of defense at all needs to be thrown out the window. It's pretty much just a damage race, and that's going to be how most fights are in this run. I have access to Rakunda, and I have access to Tarakaja. So I buff Yu's attack as he has the highest magic stat right now, and the Avenger Knight resists Fizz, so Chie is pretty much useless. In fact, most of the stuff that the Avenger Knight could be bullied with in Golden don't exist in this game. He isn't weak to ailments, and you can't use his fire weakness, so we kind of have to rely on what we got. Now, this is where you can start to see where the level differences are definitely hitting, but you'd actually be surprised that I got closer than I thought. With a Rakunda and a Tarukasha, the damage that Yu is outputting is actually very good. The thing is just, how are we supposed to survive? Well, there's 3 of us on the field, and thankfully, whenever the Avenger Knight goes for Yu, I have pretty much 2 human shields. I have both mortal blows on Chie and Yosuke, and how those work is they will jump in front whenever the MC is about to die to a single target fatal attack. And the best part is they also still live, so I can still use their turns doing something. And as long as 3 of us are up, that means that Yu also has a 33% chance of being targeted, and if he just goes for Yosuke and Chie, I can just throw up another revival bead. And this proves to work. The only problem is that I didn't buy shit from the Shiroku store, remember? So the amount of revival beads I have right now on hand isn't a lot. And I've already opened all the chests on the previous floors, so I can't save scum for a revival bead anymore. And I kept trying this fight over and over, and I just kept running out of revival beads when he was low, and he would end up killing you because there's less targets on the field for him to choose. Also, in this challenge run, I need all party members to be alive at the end of a battle, so Yu gets the minimum amount of EXP possible. So yeah, with not really much options left, it was looking like I was gonna have to load my save from yesterday and actually buy the revival beads this time. Oh geez, I'm so stupid. I just wish I did that the first time. After going back to my previous save, get the revival beads I need from the Shiroku store, and we're back in the TV world. Now, I still had a few rocky attempts on the Avenger Knight, but I finally got a good attempt, and it wasn't looking good either. Both of my mortal blows got used, and Yu was pretty much a sitting duck, but he didn't have much health left either. Luckily, I got the dodge, and after an attack from me and an attack from Yosuke, the fight was over, getting us to level 7. That means we're gonna have to fight a level 15 boss at half of her level pretty much. Oh jeez. But at least with the Avenger Knight being defeated, I had access to floor 5, 6, and 7 loot, which means as long as I had the table with me, I can pretty much just save scum for the items I want. Once I grabbed everything for the day, I headed home, hit the Narukami Shuffle, made it to the Shiroku store, and spent literally all of my money on the last few items I needed, because during the 19th of today, we're not going to be leaving until Yukiko is done. For all of my item fishing during the 18th and the 19th, this is what I managed to net. Smart bombs, assault signals, physical mirrors, and some supersonics. In terms of gold chests, I got the Gentleman's Tux for me and Yosuke, which gives us 50 plus HP, the combat dress for Chie, which I believe increases her chance to evade fire, as well as some power belts. These give a boost in strength. We're going to need all the strength we can get since all of our damage on Yukiko is going to be purely physical. And with a nice stock full of items in my share, I thought I was pretty much ready, so I decided to give Yukiko some attempts. Yukiko can be very scary. Though she doesn't have her ice weakness in this version of the game, she has a lot of less HP than her golden version, so it's a trade-off it seems. By using an assault signal, after lowering her defense, she's got already 1/3 of her HP down after only a few attacks from us. We did really good damage with the help of our power belts. Mainly Chie, as her skewer is hitting for like almost 120 damage consistently. Now Yukiko is very random. She can mind charge, she can use fire attacks, and she has a lot of physical attacks. That's why we grinded for the physical mirrors to get free reflected damage. Now she only has 1 turn, so even if she wipes Chie or Yosuke, it only takes a single revival bead to bring them back. Eventually, when you get her to about around almost half HP, she will summon her prince. In this version, he's the one weak to ice instead of her. His first turn will always be healing Yukiko once with Diorama. Luckily, with him being weak to ice, Chie can dizzy him on her 1 more. That's not really where the problem is though, he's mostly just kind of an annoyance. The real issue is once Yukiko gets under 50% HP, she will use her burn to ashes, and it just wipes everyone. It doesn't matter if we guard, we're still dying to it. It doesn't help the fact that we're mostly using physical attacks, so the Protag's health is never at full. Now, could I increase my defense? Yes, in Yukiko's they do have diamond shields, but I apparently couldn't get any, not a single one. Now the guide I'm using for chests is golden, not vanilla. It just happens to be that most of the drops in vanilla are the same locations as golden. Now for this one item, it could be slightly altered, so maybe diamond shields are not on floor 6. So it looks like we're gonna have to dodge with all of our supersonics. Yeah, these attempts take a bit, and it takes a lot of attempts to even get a good one. Even when we do get the dodge, and I mean everyone dodging, well, my luck is really bad, because what she does after her first scripted burn to ashes can be anything. Well, in this instance, she did it again. So that was just raps right there. Yeah, this fight can be very random. Yukiko doesn't have much of a pattern in this version, so then I decided to change my strategy. Instead of throwing up physical mirrors and giving the prince attention when he arrives, it's just a waste of turns. We could just be using that to attack Yukiko. Again, she doesn't really have a lot of HP. I decided to just focus all my turns on outputting as much damage on Yukiko as possible. The only time I'll play somewhat defensively is just having Yosuke throw up supersonics, so if we get a dodge, we get the dodge. If we don't, well, we hopefully can get a revive, and if not, we just do the attempt again. I also have to make sure that when I throw up these buff items, everyone's buffs are entirely over, as in this version of P4, if a buff duration is not over, it just misses. It doesn't stack like it does in Golden, so you'll see me tend to forget that, and I do it in a lot of fights in this challenge run. Anyway, after many failed attempts around the 30th mark, I got a really good attempt. So after her HP reached 50% and it was their turn, the prince took out Chie while Yosuke was taken out by the burnt to ashes. But the MC did manage to dodge, and that was all that matters. We revive both of them, and Chie takes the mortal blow for the MC. After I lower her defense and pop another supersonic, I use Chie's turn to down the prince as she doesn't have any health to do a physical attack right now. On Yukiko's turn, she knocks down Chie with an Aigi, and on her one more uses a white wall on the prince. I didn't even know she could do that, but thankfully, everything was working out perfectly. We revive Chie, throw up another assault signal, and put Yukiko in her animation. All we need is one more turn and we win. Chie dodges, and the prince Tsukukajas himself? Haha, yeah, it's over. A few more attacks and a big skewer from Chie, and we finally won. We gain only 2 levels from this, going from 7 to 9, but not too shabby for our first big boss battle of the run. Now that we have about 3 weeks until the next TV World Victim, we have a lot to focus on in terms of the real world. Let me give you guys the lowdown on what I'm going to be focusing on during the social aspect. So Magician, Emperor, Fortune, Chariot are going to be my main focus for this run, as they are arcanas for some of the best personas I'll be able to have access to. Not to mention, these are party members I'll be using in battle. When you reach rank 9, they'll get Endure, which is going to be very helpful once Almighty starts to show its face in every fight. Chie has Tarakaja, which will be very helpful when I need to buff up Yu's attack. Kanji has really good endurance and has a leg break, which I will need for a Pacific late game boss. Naoto, despite usually being a bad party member in vanilla, has a huge level difference from the rest of the cast when she joins, not even mentioning her getting Mind Charge extremely early, so she'll definitely be my best damage besides the MC. And we have Teddy, who's going to be really good as he gets Matarukaja pretty early, and he also has good magic. For second tier social links, we got Temper, Devil, Moon, Sun, Hermit, Justice, Hierophant, and Strength. These arcanas carry important personas just as Group 1, it's just they aren't my party members. So Group 1 is going to be done first, but if I can't do a Group 1 social link, then I'll just do a Group 2. Temper and Devil are especially important in this second rate group as they give me courage and understanding along with money, and that's going to be very important since I need the courage for Naoto. And lastly, the links I probably won't be doing or barely pay any attention to unless there's like absolutely nothing to do on that day. Lovers, Priestess, Empress, Death, and Tower. Rise doesn't really do much as a navigator, and the Lovers Arcana personas aren't exactly the best for my kind of run. Same thing with Yukiko. I'm dropping her the moment Kanji joins because she doesn't really do anything that anyone else on my team can't, and she kind of provides weak heals that I won't really be needing. I got items for that, and worst case scenario, I got Teddy for that as well. As for Tower, the lowest persona I can get is 35. That's just not going to be available to me for like all the way until I get to maybe Magatsu, so there's no point. And Death also suffers from personas that also aren't just that good, and even if I did fuse a couple of deaths here and there, she's only available on Sundays, so that's not a lot of availability. As for Margaret, I'm sorry, I just don't feel like having to fuse whatever random shit she wants me to create. I already have enough to deal with in the run itself. I don't need Margaret going, hey, can I get a Jack Frost with Rainy Death and some random ass buff like Tsukukaja? Like, I'm sorry, girl. I'm good. As for P4 rainy days, I'm mostly going to be using them to go to the Beef Bowl to get stats or go to the Hermit on those days, since you can always go to the Hermit after you finish this request. And for nights, we don't actually have much to do besides just money and knowledge. You can get up to 2 knowledge stats from stunning at night, but it's not very common. With save states, however, we can maximize our time and make sure we always get the double knowledge stat points, like how a completionist would do it. The same could be said for translating and making envelopes. Sometimes you'll get a dialogue option for a specific scenario that can increase your weight of work. The bottom option is usually playing it safe, making the same amount of money you always make, where the top answer is a gamble. If you didn't get the green check mark, well, you better get ready to try again and reload your save, because you make way more less money than you would normally make. Thankfully with save states, we can just make sure we get that positive effect each time. Eventually, once we max out our expression, we can get up to 15k each time we translate and get that special bonus. So yeah, money actually isn't a problem in this run. Even then, we could sell our life stones and snuff souls we get from the TV world, as they are very common drops in normal chests and they sell for good money. After acing our exams, Kanji shows up on the Midnight Channel, and we gotta get back to work. Now that Kanji's is open, we can infinitely grind items in the TV world. Whenever I need items, I'm probably just gonna go back to Yukiko's, as the enemies are usually smaller due to my level, and the larger their shadow is, the easier they notice you. The smaller they are, the better chance you have of just slipping by them. And considering we need to be getting as many items as possible and not really engaging with these shadows, yeah, Yukiko's looks like the best bet for item grinding. But it's time to talk about what we've actually been waiting for. The gold hands. They're finally accessible now in Kanji's dungeons, so it's time to get our fusion. It takes a while for me to even get one to show up. In this game, they really are rare. In Golden, not only can you manipulate them showing up, but sometimes they will just be running around from floor to floor and you can catch them while just going up or down. Well, in this game, yeah, I had to reset the dungeon layout multiple times to get something to show up. It was genuinely hell. It was just awful. Anyway, when I finally did get one to show, it kind of surprised me since I expected to see a different field model, because Golden had a new field model for the gold hands, and even Persona 3 FES did back then. But in 4, no, they just took the normal shadows and piss colored them. This shit looks so goofy. They don't even run from you also, they just straight up attack you in this version. But I'm getting sidetracked, so luckily these guys are weak to electricity, so it isn't too hard to kill the gold hand. In terms of shuffle time, I wasn't really sure what persona to grab, as whichever one I chose right now would be the one I have to commit to basically fusing off of, as this is the only persona I'm going to be able to pick up. So my plan was, wait a second, where's my shuffle time? Let me try again. No. Okay, let's end it with an all-out attack. That usually means I'm guaranteed to get one. Oh jeez. Yeah, so it seems that shuffle time can't be triggered through gold hands in this game. That's not good. So I had two options now. Keep it as a mandatory battles run and just keep using Izanagi, or do it as a low level run and go farm an encounter real quick so I can get access to shuffle time. I think you know which one I chose. Thankfully, Banana, a friend who was watching my run while I was streaming it that day, basically reminded me that he saw an encounter that only was one single lying Habri. So I went back into Yukiko's, and after doing a ton of looking and finding the wrong spawn of encounters, I did find the one singular lying Habri, the weakest enemy in the game. So we killed the shadow, and it gave us only 3 EXP. Which is great, yeah, even though it's not a mandatory battles run anymore, at least I can keep this run at the lowest level possible. After getting our shuffle time, I actually do have a lot of personas to choose from. So I decided to go with Pixie, since she's probably the cheapest to repurchase, and since I'm going to continue chaining her probably to fill out the compendium, I need them as cheap as they come, since money is still a little tight right now. After obtaining the Pixie, I go into the Velvet Room and start fusing things to basically fill out the compendium. But that's not the only reason I'm here. Today is Skill Change Day through the Fusion Forecast. Now, the Fusion Forecast is probably the most underrated system in Persona 4. So basically, on certain days in Persona 4, fusing personas will give you special effects, like skill changes, bonus EXP, or increased stats. By using the Game Facts Guide, I can see what each day has to offer. Some days it's none, but on other days, I will get something special, and I will go into the Velvet Room and start fusing around. I'm sure you've heard of 624, as that's the infamous day people are familiar with the Kaiwan exploit. Well, that's not really limited to that day, by the way. You could get any skill change as long as it's that day on the forecast calendar, and oh boy, I managed to get some good mutations. I'll give a quick explanation of how mutations work in this game, as they are done differently in mostly all Persona games. All skills in Persona 4 have a rank, like Aigi being rank 1 compared to Megidolion, which is all the way in rank 8. Usually the better stuff is higher ranked. Now skill changes will always be something in the same rank pool. For example, Bufu is rank 1, and so is Ice Boost. So Ice Boost can change into Bufu and vice versa. Sometimes you can find skills in the same rank that really have no business being there, We're going to be using this system the entire game to get really good skills early for this run. As I was fusing, I managed to get the following stuff, and I saved it in my compendium because I thought it'd be pretty good. I got Terresto, which helps me leave the dungeon whenever I want, Alertness, which would help me basically decrease the chance of a shadow getting an advantage if he hits me first, and we got Wind Boost. I'm gonna need this passive as I'm making a huge wind build later, so I fuse it on a couple of personas, and I fuse it to an angel, and I go take on the mini boss for kanjis. The Daring Gigas is overall a joke. I grinded physical mirrors for this fight as he doesn't really do anything else but charge up a really strong physical move for like 4 turns, and then on maybe the 5th turn, he'll go for one of your party members, and yeah, the physical mirror does all the work. I was able to do about 700 damage to him alone from just the mirror, so after a little bit more chip damage, he goes down. I go from 9 to 14, a pretty big jump. FYI, most of the mini bosses in this game are going to give me a lot, while the story bosses give me a little. Unfortunately, I didn't get the skill I wanted on Angel from the level up, which is Hammer Boost. So I decided to beat the Gigas another time as I needed to get more links on Nanako, and then refuse the Angel and do the fight again, and this time hopefully she'll get Hammer Boost. After getting some links on Nanako, selling our items from the TV world for more money, and we refuse Angel, we do the Gigas again, and thankfully this time it is enough to get the Hammer Boost on Angel. Now things are really getting interesting. Now remember what I said about mutations in this game. They will mutate only into the same skill rank. And you've heard me mention Hammer Boost for quite a while now, so you're probably thinking, what's so special about this skill? Well, Hammer Boost, which is given very early on Angel, is rank 5. Guess what else is rank 5? Yeah, pretty insane shit. Now this, of course, is a very painful process. All these skills can change into anything in the rank 5 to 5.5 pool, which is a lot of options. Oh yeah, I should also mention, I have many rules in this run. You can check in the description if you want to see all of them, but I'll just list a few of them here, like Expert, True Ending, No Cheating Money, or EXP, or anything like that. But for the sake of making my Velvet Room grind less time consuming, I will be using one cheat. The only one that I will allow in this entire run, and that will be the Manual Inheritance mod, created by ATLUS. This actually just came out while I was doing this run, by the way, so it's legit perfect timing. Now, I already know someone in the comments will be like, oh my god, Legend is cheating, oh my god, the run has failed, oh. Look, this can be achieved on real hardware if you had like an extra 200 hours of time. I do not have that kind of time. So just like save states, this will only be for the sake of time saving. In fact, just in case if you're curious, I'll leave a counter up on screen right here that shows how much time I spent in the Velvet Room when I'm fishing for mutations, trying to get a lot of fusion combos, all that kind of stuff. So you'll have an idea of how long this takes me. This was already like 6 hours alone, so I'll add that to the counter. But anyway, back to the main topic at hand. If I get any other good skills from mutation that I don't exactly need, but maybe I could have use for them in the future, I'll just save them in the comp on random personas. As for what I was actually looking for, I was able to pull all of them. Alley Dance, Garudine, and Windamp. I was able to fuse a Saki Mitama with all these skills on it, with a pretty respectable magic stat. I also fused an Oberon too, so I can spam Rakunda while being safe from his pesky electricity spam. Even then, with all this prep, I wasn't sure if this was going to be enough. But I did have a persona that was probably going to be pulling out damage that you wouldn't be able to get till like mid-game. So honestly, with these two builds, I did feel pretty confident, and I decided to give Shadow Kanji a few attempts. Off the bat, I can tell that our damage for the fight is really good. If the target we are hitting is debuffed and we are buffed, we are pulling numbers almost in the 400s. I mean, like, that is really crazy. The MC is strictly Rakunda and Garudine business. GA is using Taurikaja and throwing up items. Yukiko is using items or using fire, as she does have a flame vow on her. And lastly, I have Yosuke for Dakaja and items. In this version, Kanji's Nice Guy and Tough Guy don't have weaknesses, along with Nice Guy giving Heat Riser to Kanji. So Yosuke's Dakaja is actually a must here. My strategy for this fight was to get rid of the Nice Guy first, which only takes 2 hits, and then focus on Kanji. The Tough Guy is annoying as well, but like I said, this run is going to be a damage race. We need to beat Kanji before he beats us. So even though the Tough Guy is a little annoying, I still have physical mirrors in my stock, and I was able to pick up the Falcon Eye, an accessory that raises your chance of dodging physical attacks. I only had one for the time being, so I just gave it to Yosuke. but at least we had some coverage. I also have magic mirrors too, and I can actually put these on because Kanji doesn't absorb a lek in this version of the game like he does in Golden. So if he does his Fanatical Spark, we can actually reflect it for pretty big damage. As for Diamond Shields and Supersonics, I managed to net a few of them, but it's still a limited amount, so the longer we take, the worse the match gets. As for the Rage on the girls and the Poison on the boys, I have sodas for that, so it's not really an issue. A lot of the failed attempts just came from you not dodging, and that's just pretty much it. I mean, yeah, he just didn't dodge. One attempt, I had Kanji so low, I could have ended it right there, but on his following turn, he used Fanatical Spark and both Yukiko and Chie got downed. And I didn't want to just kill him, so I kinda had to stall a bit to try to revive them, and we managed to die later. But I knew this setup was good and I was just getting unlucky, so I decided to give it a few more attempts. Until eventually, I got a really good attempt. So I started the fight off as normal pretty much. I targeted the nice guy and took him out in about roughly 2 turns, and continued to try and put on Supersonics and Diamond Shields so we can get as many dodges as possible. And oh boy, did we get a lot of dodges. In fact, I ended up stumbling both Kanji and Tough Guy. Now here's where I should have gone for a Garadine on the downed Kanji, but instead of canceling the all-out attack, I clicked confirm like a dumbass. I generally sat there like, fuck, I just throw this attempt? But I didn't. Thankfully, Yukiko and me dodged the following Fanatical Spark on the next turn, and because I put magic mirrors on Chie and Yosuke earlier, they reflected the spark damage. And after one more big Garudine, Kanji was done. We gained only a single level going from 14 to 15, which kind of sucks, but hey, I'm just glad those mutations actually ended up working out and helped secure a victory. It means that we can probably use these for other fights as well and give us a better fighting chance. With downtime on the line once again, I spend more time on my links and buy some books for social stats at night. I'm mostly still using nights for making money and getting my knowledge up, but sometimes I will read a book to make sure I get some stats and courage. I also make sure to buy things from Tanaka on Sundays, as sometimes he can sell pretty good stuff. Soon the camping trip comes up, we hear some of the most famous lines from Yosuke. I max out Yosuke, Risei shows up on the Midnight Channel, and we're back to business. Before heading into Risei's, I fuse a Yomotsu Shikone on the 24th, as we're going to be needing that later. After some days pass, we do our usual prep, and I head inside. I make sure the day I enter is a skill change day, as we're going to be pretty much doing something similar we did when we needed to beat Kanji. I swap in Kanji for Yukiko, as I no longer need her. Despite his obvious higher level, Kanji also has great endurance along with Rakukaja, which definitely might be helpful when I don't feel like using my diamond shields. Striptease has new items available like Magatamas that deal a set damage of 150. If I manage to get a Magatama, of course I'll be happy, but I won't really be going out of my way to grind these, as most of my personas right now are going to be my main source of damage, probably for the entire run. If anything, I mostly just need to grind for the usual stuff like Supersonics, Mirrors, and Diamond Shields. But in terms of Magatamas, I'm not going out of my way to do that. We decided to give the mini-boss the Armorer's Snake a try, and
Enemy! Don't get hurt! Get up, Sensei!
yeah, we get fucking bodied. The survivability wasn't even the issue. Half of the team had Falcon Eye accessories, which help dodge physical attacks, so sure, we might get clipped every now and then, but that's not the big issue. The MC's damage is just pitiful. I thought having Garodine this early alone would beat the snake, but his endurance is really high for whatever reason, so it seems I'm going to have to fish for his weakness instead, which is fire, so I can at least get 2 actions, which automatically would be more damage than whatever I'm getting right now. While trying to mutate my rank 5 skills into Agidine, I got some other good stuff too, like Invigorate 2 and Spirit Drain, which pretty much means I never have to grind for SP items in the TV world unless I want to get free money. Eventually, I did get Agidine, but I couldn't pull Fire Amp for the life of me. I mean, I got tons of other amps like Elec. I got Elec like twice, but I couldn't get Fire. So in the end, I just grabbed a Fire Boost from Eligor and fused it to Titan, as he was the best option for decent magic, despite being more strength-oriented. This was another 8 hours, so I added that to the Velvet Room counter. To even begin this fight, we had to get an alley dance dodge on the first turn, which did take a bit. I could have put the Falcon Eye on the MC as well, like I did for Chie and Yosuke, but because of the lack of Fire Amp, I had to grab Yukiko's Flame Vow and put it on my MC to try to make up and help with some of the missing damage. It was still pretty pitiful. I knew that the damage gap was pretty big, as Amp is 50 and a Vow is only 20, but this is insane. As I mentioned, it's probably due to the snake's really high endurance, as it is level 33 with 26 points. as the last boss we faced, Kanji, only had 16. Regardless, we just have to throw up supersonics and hope our falcon eyes help us dodge and keep up the barrage of attacks. If the MC has a Rakukaja on, he can at least survive one attack from the snake at full HP, which is good. I have a few physical mirrors in my stock too, so if I get the chance, I'll put that on him as well. I kept hitting Aigidines, and as my SP bar diminished, so did the snake's HP. Each time he took out a party member, I usually just had the ones who dodged revive the other. While I was trying to eyeball the damage so I wouldn't kill him yet because I still need to switch to my Yamotsu before the battle ends, I hit him with a mirror reflected for 106 damage, and then it was Yosuke's turn. Now it was my turn coming up next, but I was worried that once it becomes my turn, I wouldn't be able to kill him. So I did a little bit of chip damage with a single Garu, and luckily that was just enough. I switched to Yamotsu, and after a firecracker and an all-out attack, we finish him off. We go from 15 to 20. Not a bad increase, but that's not even what I was really excited about. I was happy that Yamotsu was actually able to get Ghastly Whale, because similar to Hammer Boost, that Ghastly Whale is going to be putting in a lot of overtime in the Velvet Room. By the way, if you're enjoying the video so far, please leave a like, as it really does help the channel. And if you're really feeling nice, hit that subscribe button, as it helps me make more videos like this and with more quality each time. Also, random ass plug, check out my Twitter. I know that's like some words you probably never want to fucking hear in your life, but like, I don't know, I just gonna be saying random shit on there. Check me out, I guess. Now you guys are probably wondering what's the importance of Ghastly Whale. Well, the move itself is pretty useless in a run like this, and arguably in a normal run, as it just insta-kills anyone who is inflicted with fear. Pretty useless. But the skill rank, you won't believe this, is rank 6. And in the rank 6 pool, you get access to freaking all the blocks in the game, AoE heavy magic skills, the auto buffs, and the charges. Oh yeah, we're gonna be in this Velvet Room for quite a while. Off that one little Ghastly Well, I was able to net the following: all the nulls, some magic attacks, growth 3, regenerate 3, all the auto buffs, and mind charge. And even after all these fusions and saving these skills in the comp, I still had enough money left for like 20 more fusions if I kept grabbing personas that were somewhat cheap. And as for the length of this session, this one was pretty brutal, roughly 8 to 9 hours I want to say. After getting all the mutations I need, I did some more item grinding and left for the day so I could sell all my findings. Now with more money, I could actually put all these random mutated skills into actual builds. While fusing, I got a few accidents too, like an Andra. It wasn't anything too crazy, but I just thought it was cool. Anyway, my first build was a Yakshini, who I fused 3 nulls onto with Mind Charge. She's going to be my Rakunda and Mind Charge user, and since she's got a lot of good natural resistances, I can completely wall both Rise and Teddy. As for my Garudine user, I was able to find the goated Jack Frost, who thankfully inherits Wind. I gave him my Wind Damp and Garudine, while the other 2 slots I gave him 2 nulls and an Alley Dance. I didn't put my wind boost on my Jack Frost because I found a Gust Foul while I was grinding, and I was like, whoa, I can just use this for use accessory slot, and I can probably just save this slot on my persona for something else. So yeah, and that was pretty much it for my setup. I also fused an Asperis so she can carry all my autos. She's pretty weak, of course, but it's not like I'm going to be even staying on her for a single turn, since I'm going to be switching off her immediately. After fusing for the day, I do some more cash grinding at night, talk to Ai to do some more on her link, and I'm ready to jump into the TV world to get this done. So for Rise's fight, yeah, it's pretty easy. With all my prep, since I start with auto buffs, we burst through her HP incredibly fast. In fact, even if we didn't have good damage, we could legit just shut up magic mirrors, since she only really spams magic attacks. But yeah, a Mind Charge Garudine is doing over 600 damage to her. I was legit in pure shock. Man, I love Forecast. The only issue is, if I can call it that, is I wasn't able to switch back to Asperis at the end of the fight because I was afraid I was going to die due to her poor endurance. So I wasn't able to start Teddy's fight with auto buffs, which kind of sucks. But it is what it is, it's fine, it's not a huge problem. Chie does end up dying from her 3-turn magic onslaught before the battle ends too. But it doesn't matter since I don't get EXP from this fight and everyone gets fully revived with full HP for the next round, so it works out. Now for Shadow Teddy, in terms of what he does, it's mostly just Mind Charge ice attacks along with Heat Wave. Yu is untouchable, as Yakshini nulls both ice and physical, and so does Jack Frost. So this fight is pretty much a gimme. Even if everyone else goes down, the MC just revives everyone, so me messing up the auto buffs doesn't even really matter. Sometimes you can get cheap damage on Teddy by using Ice Break with my Jack Frost and putting a mirror up, but I didn't have much mirrors in this fight. One thing that can be pretty scary is his almighty attack that he can do that gives him a free one more. Now, this does just straight up one-shot Kanji. Thankfully he doesn't go for you, so it works out. His ultra charge, which he also does, can be stopped with enough damage. I believe it's 800 damage which you need to stop him and get a free all-out attack, which I easily reach in no time with my mind charged Garudine. But even if I couldn't stop him, we could just guard the attack and it does no damage. So overall the fight is long, very long, but not too demanding. The real issue is just skill fishing and fusion right now. Once again, like most main story bosses, it doesn't give us a lot. We only go from level 20 to 21, but another fight in the bag. Now with more free time, we continue doing what we've been doing. Social links, money grinding, and increasing our social stats that matter. I also started doing the devil during nighttime for more money and courage points. Eventually, Muraoka ends up dead, and we get the best line in arguably the whole game.
Oh, I get it. What you're really asking is, will you please beat the shit out of me, Kanji?
I maxed out my knowledge and my expression, so now I can pull 15k every single time I translate at night. Also, a little off topic, but god damn, I love this song. Your Affection is just, oh, so good. It's so good. When I was listening to this on that crispy emulator sound, it just hit, man. It just hit. I promised I wouldn't sneak this revival in here, but never mind. I'm not gonna say anything, but sometimes you just can't beat the classics. Anyway, let me focus back on the run. We ace our exams again, but this time because I got a higher score than normal and because my knowledge is maxed, we get the paper armband from Nanako, which is probably the best accessory in the game for the protagonist, as it gives us a +5 in all of our stats. Thank you, Nanako. Just in time for Mitsuo too, as he shows up on the TB, so it's immediately back to business. I wait for skill change day and I head in there as soon as we're ready. None of my builds are different right now, but the moment we kill the mini boss for Mitsuo's dungeon, we're gonna hopefully reach level 24. And when we reach level 24, we can fuse the notorious Kaiwan that I mentioned earlier in the run for some new set of good skills that we can mutate. Based on how the previous bosses have been giving me good EXP amounts for at least 4 to 5 levels, I'm hoping that this mini boss will do the same because I'm gonna need a lot of prep for Mitsuo. Now, heading into the dungeon, I replaced Teddy, obviously, for Yosuke, because Teddy actually does good damage on his own because he already has a pretty high magic stat, and I was able to find him a Blizzard Vow too, so his damage is actually pretty good. So, Yosuke, you served us well, but you will be benched for the rest of the run. Chie is still good for being a Tarukaja bot, since only you really needs to get Tarukaja, nobody else, so I'm not going to really need to waste my assault signals on the whole party. But the moment Naoto arrives on the team, Naoto will be subbing her in since I need Naoto's good damage. Hopefully by that time, Teddy will have my Tarukaja so he can be my new buffer, and worst case scenario, we can still just use items. The first turn opens up pretty well, as my main fear of having a weak auto persona is just dying off the first turn. Thankfully, the killing hand doesn't go for me and my Asperis, but it goes for Kanji instead, and it ends up missing too. Now how this fight will go is we can't exactly kill the almighty hand because it will add to the EXP number at the end, so we have to focus on the killing hand and only him. Almighty Hand luckily can't out-heal the MC and Teddy's damage as long as the killing hand is debuffed and we are buffed. Sometimes he misses his attacks too and gets stumbled, which is even more damage since he is downed. Unless I need Tarukaja, I usually just have Chie trying to get confusion on the Almighty Hand, so maybe he can stop healing. She never does though, but it doesn't really matter anyway, as our damage with Mind Charge is way too much. After the dioramas can't sustain the hand anymore, he dies and the Almighty Hand scurries off. We go from exactly 21 to 24, just the level I needed. I head into the Velvet Room and immediately start prepping. Just as we needed Ghastly Will for rank 6 skills, now we have Tetracon, which is rank 7. This will be the highest rank skill we have access to until the end of the run, as rank 8 will not be available, since the lowest rank 8 skill you can get is an Absorb Wind on a persona that's level 51. We're not going to be reaching even close to that probably, so yeah, we're not going to be able to hit any rank 8 skills. But 7 should still suffice. Anyway, back to Kaiwan Tetracon. This allows me to net stuff like Repels, Spellmaster, Armsmaster, and really late game physical attacks. This fusion day was a long one, as I also had some more accidents. Eventually, I did get what I was mainly looking for, Brave Blade, the strongest non-unique physical skill in the game besides Primal Force. And as for the time spent doing all these mutations that I need to add to the Velvet counter, it's like straight up 12, I'm not even kidding. This was genuinely like 12 hours. After grinding some more items for the day, I sold all the ones I had in excess for money, did some more translating that night, and I was ready to form my builds. Just as skill changes on Pacific Forecast days, so was bonus social link EXP for personas, so I came in on a perfect day. I made my new Garudyne user a King Frost, and thanks to the triple fusion I did, I was able to get all 5 slots, meaning I could give him some extra repels. I made sure to put a save state before I fuse him so I can make sure most of his stats get dumped into magic. For my Brave Blade build, I made a Rakshasa which already comes with power charge innately, so that saves me a slot. I tried to give him 5 slots from the triple fusion as well, but I couldn't get it. Sometimes when you're making a triple fusion persona, skills can overlap, which decreases your chance of pulling all 5. It's fine, I can make do with 4 anyway, but since I don't have 5 slots, I can't give him the Armsmaster. So I just had to deal with Brave Blade and some elemental immunities. It's still great, but the Armsmaster was going to help me be able to not have to worry about my HP as much. The final build I was going to make was a Makaracon build, but the fusion I was trying to do was an accident and I got a Hualpo instead. It still works out as she's slightly higher level than me, and that was pretty much all my prep needed for Mitsuo, so I was ready to take him on. The last thing I did was took off my Gust Vow accessory because I have my wind boost on my King Frost. So for my accessory slot, I can now use my armband plus 5 to all stats, so maybe that can help me get some extra damage in too. As for the fight, the first phase is pretty simple. I damage his hero form until the baby comes out. As my party members whittle down his health, I use these turns to set up my charges and set up mirrors and Karns, as when we transition into his baby form, we will need all the mirrors set up for his first magic attack he chooses to use, determined by which wall he puts up. Now my party is actually dishing out good damage thanks to our auto buffs and him being Rakundud. Now the moment our autos go away though, you can really tell how dangerous this fight is, as a single hit already kills Teddy doing over 350 damage. I would have been dead as hell on the floor as well if it wasn't for Kanji taking a mortal blow for me. As we were struggling to finish him off, Teddy finally got the final hit and we transitioned into the baby phase. Our mirrors are already up, so we start prepping for damage. He chooses a green wall, which means he's trying to use wind attacks. He throws up a medium AoE wind attack that gets shielded by our mirrors. I forgot to reapply one on Teddy, but he thankfully dodged it. A charged Brave Blade as he's debuffed and I'm buffed is over 800 damage. It's already enough to trigger his first rebuilding phase. A raw Brave Blade with some party member attacks easily cancels the process and we get a free all-out attack. Now, the second time he starts rebuilding the hero is when things get really scary, as you need over 750 damage, I believe? It might be between like 750 and like 900-ish. Like that's how much you need to cancel it. And if you fail on the second time, he will rebuild his entire hero instantly in one turn, which is an instant reset by the way, because he gains a new skill called Gigadyne, which is just too much damage for the party to survive. Thankfully, I've played this perfectly. I've only been using Power Charge and Brave Blade so far, which means I've saved my Mind Charge from like over 12 turns ago. So when I finally release my Mind Charge Garudyne, it hits for almost 1000 damage in a single hit, and it takes him out of rebuilding instantly. After that point, he doesn't have a lot of health left. It just takes a few spamming items like Smart Bombs and Magatamas we picked up on the last bit of HP, and the fight is over. That was Mitsuo on only my second try. Only my second try, and with a 20 level gap no less. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, for all the challenge run prep I've done for previous videos and whatnot, I've never had things go this smoothly. We gain only a single level once again, going from 24 to 25. But after that, it seems like we're not gonna be in the TB world for quite a while. After our hard-earned victory, the team celebrates and we enjoy our summer. We have tons of time until the next victim, so we do plenty of links and get our social stats up. I do the Devil's Link to get as much money and courage as possible at night, as well as reading on days where our links aren't available. and sometimes just dedicating full days to translating, as translating for pretty much a whole day in the morning and at night is 30k alone right there. Add that with the fact that Dojima pays us after he sees our exams, and working with Yosuke helps us also net another 40k. We're pretty much just basking in dough right now. Chie gets maxed out, we listen to the second best line in the game from Kanji,
Man, a watermelon.
and then we max out Kanji, experience the P3 high school trip, see the best sprite in the game, and Naoto ends up in the TV world, so it seems like we're finally back to business. And once again, I look at the forecast to see if it's bonus EXP day, and we head into the TV world. We're not going to be doing any fusion until the mini boss is done, so then we can get our level up for the time being, and then we can make that fusion bonus EXP come to good use. The Dominating Machine is a pretty rough fight. It only uses 2 skills, Power Charge and Herculean Strikes. You would think, oh legend, just grind a lot of physical mirrors. Yeah, well I didn't really feel like it. Considering how tanky he is, that would be like 6 to shut the fuck up. Now at first, I couldn't even get past the first turn because I'm still using Asperis as my auto persona, and my Falcon Eye just wasn't getting me any physical dodges. So I kept trying, and I just couldn't get the dodge, so I switched off my starter persona. So we have no autos for this fight in the first place. Not a good start. But since my starter persona is Rakshasa, who has Repel Physical, at least I'm safe for the first turn, and I get to use Nanako's armband, so at least I have +5 stats on everything right now. It only takes 1 attack for him to wipe the entire party, but again, the protagonist can't die, so of course you would think it's easy to just get him low and then res everyone, right? Yeah, well the issue is once he gets low, he will stop attacking you for 3 turns and just straight try to kill himself. He will just straight up set off like a timer, and if you don't kill him in 3 turns, you will nuke everyone. Yeah, I failed this many times as my party members' attacks are hitting like wet noodles. That, or they'll either just miss flat out. It doesn't help that my own damage without Mind Charge or Precunda is also somewhat pitiful, so he got away with blowing himself up and killing us too many times. Thankfully, after a bit, I realized that when I revive my party members, they can just spam items, as they never have a chance to miss. In this attempt, I just spammed items that did more damage than my party members' natural skills, and I finished them off that way. I go from level 25 to 29, so a somewhat pretty decent level boost, and I'm back to fusing. I upgrade my Garudan user to a Kusimitama and get a physical repel and a null elect on it, along with some insane magic stats after fusion because the social link bonus. Wait a second. Where's the bonus EXP? Yeah, I kinda fucked up. So usually when a fusion forecast special occurrence happens, there isn't any conditions. You can just get the social link bonus for free, or get the skill change for free. Well, today a condition needed to be met, which was fusing Linan Sheed, who's all the way at level 42, so yeah, it seems like we won't be getting our EXP bonus. The only reason I even came to fuse today was because of the bonus, but you know what, it's fine, we don't have to get the social link bonus. We're already here, might as well just start fusing and continue. I upgrade my Brave Blade user to an Ares, and since I was able to fuse it with 5 slots, I was actually able to put Arms Master on it this time. I still kept my Rakshasa though in my party, as his strength is slightly higher than Ares. But with all my prep ready, I was ready to give Naoto some attempts. As the fight begins, Naoto mostly just spams AoE magic and some physical skills. Like I said, with the Dominating Machine, you could kind of just mirror her attacks, but I haven't really item grinded in a while and I intend to keep it that way, as it gets very tiring to do that. I should have added a counter for how long item grind takes as well, since it's just as bad as fishing for mutations in the Velvet Room. Anyway, besides the mirrors, we can just straight out survivor attacks as long as we have supersonics and diamond shields. And since Chie and Kanji are maxed out, they lose their weaknesses in this version of the game besides Teddy. So yeah, even if she does hit them, at least it's not a weakness hit, and they both have their endures. She farmed Teddy a lot in this fight because, yeah, electricity. So this part sucked, but our damage is really good though. My Brave Blade is hitting like almost 1000 damage with power charge, buffs, and debuffs. And since my party member's damage is also solid, I blowed through her health relatively fast. Unfortunately, this wasn't a first attempt victory, as her unique skill Element 0 negates all resistances. And considering that my nulls and repels are the only thing that's been letting me breeze through fights lately, well, take that away and I think you can guess what happened. On my 10th attempt, because I kept dying to Element 0, I realized that I need to be bursting her HP as quick as possible. As the moment Element 0 comes up, I can only take 1 solid hit at full health with the diamond shield up, or I'm just gonna die. So I started using Rakshasa for my Brave Blades instead of Ares, as his strength was slightly higher, and Yeah, that definitely paid off. Brave Blade is genuinely insane. I netted over 1,000 damage. 1,000 damage in a low-level run, mind you, on a boss. Yeah, this is just crazy. So after seeing her in her animation, I thought we had this in the bag, but I started fucking up. I threw up my supersonic when not all the buff durations were out. I started checking out attacks without Mind Charge and Raccoonda in an effort to just hurry up and clear her HP. Since I knew the Element Zero was coming, and our MP was starting to look a little low. Eventually, she did use the Element Zero again, but thankfully, with the help of my party damage and a Magatama, we closed her out before she can do anything. We go from level 29 to 30, only gaining a level once again, but it's something, I guess. After that, it's back to the real world again. We max out Strength and the GOAT Nanako in the same day. We make sure we do the Devil and Temper like normal to get our stats up, and goddamn, this mother is fine as hell. We max out Dojima, Naoto joins the team, we ace our exams, we get a scary letter, max out the Hot Mother, start Naoto's Link, do the pageant, and hear the best third dialogue line in the game.
I get it.
Then we get the fourth best dialogue in the game.
Those are lumps from the pails whacking you in the head. You got lumps, man.
Oh yeah, I forgot, I should mention fishing. When you catch fish, you could trade what you netted with the old man for some good items. He gives chest keys and bead chains, so we might be doing this whenever we really don't have any links available or things to do, I guess. And because we can get free bait every day from the housewife outside the Dojima house, and with my diligence being maxed, doing this in the afternoon is actually a great use of my time, as getting chest keys this way is very easy to do so, considering I normally don't feel like grinding for them in the TV world. Random fun fact, so if you chose basketball for the strength link, like Ko instead of Daisuke, well, it will be Ko who defends Ai during the link where the guys are like shit-talking her. And when Ai asks you to ask him who he likes, he'll actually tell you that he likes Chie. I did not know that he liked Chie. That is actually fucking hilarious. Every time I play this game, I swear I learn something new. But after enough time passing, we do get another scary letter, and we're sent to the police station, as our beloved Nanako gets kidnapped. Which means, after a long time of relaxation, we have a lot of work to do. Time to save the MC's sister. I look on the calendar for the Fusion forecast to see what's coming up, and one of the days that I can go on is a rainy day where bonus stats are given every single time something is fused. So it looks like a perfect day. When that day eventually gets here, I prepare and I buy some stuff at the Shiroku store for 20% off. We're already pretty rich, but we might need a lot of Persona upgrades, so I try to not buy too much as I still want to save as much money as I can. Finally, back in one of my favorite dungeons and on the classic version of Persona 4 no less. The vibes and aesthetics are through the roof. It's not like Golden makes the dungeon worse or anything, but look how it looks in this game. I can't like put a finger on it, but holy shit, it just looks beautiful. It's just beautiful. Also, Heaven is one of the best tracks in the game, so you know. Now, I haven't been talking about the loot I've been pulling from dungeons anymore since Yukiko, because most of the armor loot I get isn't really much of an upgrade. But this place actually has worthwhile stuff that I should mention. The armor for the guys here called the Tsuku Yomi Noshi actually gives like +5 in all stats. So pair that with Nanako's armband accessory and the MC is packing up +10 in all stats. That is extremely, extremely good for only this point of the game. For the girls, we got the Amaterasu Hitoe, which is a pretty solid chance to repel a physical attack. I of course give this to Nato. Yeah, if you ever pull up in Heaven and you're seeing this video and you're just doing a normal Persona 4 playthrough, I'd still recommend you grind the gold chest here because yeah, the loot and armor you can get from here is just really, really good. It sucks though, because while I was item grinding, a fat ass shadow blocked my path and I couldn't really slip by him, and because I don't know what persona I had equipped, I know whatever persona it was definitely didn't have repel or no physical, because yeah, I died to a crit. So I had to kind of find some of these items all over again, which I wasn't exactly keen on. There is a silver lining though. I was able to find an icicle vow when I was going through the dungeon again, which is a 40% increase to ice magic compared to Teddy's blizzard vow, which he has had since like 2 dungeons ago. Anyway, it's world balance time. The world balance in Persona 3 FES low-level run is a serious threat, so how is he in P4? Well, he's kind of a baby. Still has his mind charge and single target magic, but he doesn't have Megidolion anymore and he doesn't have AoE magic attacks. So my boss goat was definitely washed. I didn't even have to really play the fight well. I forgot to Raccoon him for like half the fight, so I wasn't even getting the max amount of damage I could, but it didn't even matter. So if a Mind Charge attack hits any one of us, well, there's 4 of us, and if one of us goes down, well, the other can res. I block everything, so even if it hits me, I'm practically immortal, and I have Kanji's Mortal Blow anyway. We go from 30 to 35, probably the biggest gain I've seen in quite a while. Naoto gains Mind Charge, and Teddy gains Mata Rukaja. So these are very good tools we're going to need for Kunino Sagiri. I'd say it's a perfect time for some Persona upgrades, so let's head back into the Velvet Room. I upgraded my Auto Persona from Asperis to Fortuna to be my new Auto Persona, so I can actually survive an attack if I can't go first. We also get the comp reduced by 10% in costs via us filling out 25% of the compendium, so that will definitely help us do more fusions before running out of money. For my new Brave Blade user, I fuse a Yamato Orochi who has some of the best innate resistances I've ever seen. Since I couldn't get 5 slots this time, I dropped the Arm Master and just gave him some more repels and nulls. As for my new Garudine user, I'm able to get a triple fusion with 5 slots this time, a Virtue. I gave him Boost, Amp, along with a single null and a repel. I also fused a Centena to be my new Yakshini, a persona who can both Mind Charge and Power Charge with tons of nulls and repels, so they're always a safe option to default on and sit on. I also fused a Ganga with Makarakon and Spellmaster, as this fight is going to involve a lot of Karn abuse. And since the Karns are expensive, that Spellmaster should help me cast more before feeling my SP bar is about to melt. Similar to these other personas, I gave her a lot of elemental immunity, so she should generally be safe in this fight. And that's another 5 hours to the counter. Not as long as my other previous Velvet Nights, but still pretty tiring at the end of the day. Well, with all that out the way, let's try to give Kunino some attempts and get Nanako back. Kunino is actually pretty scary. Again, you can kind of wall this boss with mirrors, but like I said, I haven't really item grinded for mirrors and supersonics and diamond shields in a bit, so anything I've picked up just happens to be from me traversing the dungeons normally. So let's see what we got. I got my personas, okay, those are pretty good. A few supersonics, 1 single diamond shield, pocket lint, and a dream. So yeah, we don't have a lot in our arsenal right now, but I still wanted to see how the fight was gonna go. So the first phase of Kunino is pretty tame. He mostly just throws out AoE magic attacks or single target ones. Because we are fully buffed right now though with our autos, we don't take a lot of damage and we're able to get a lot of dodges. So it's relatively pretty calm on this part. Naoto is also pulling over 400 damage with that Mind Charge Megiddo, along with Teddy who's doing a consistent 200. So my party is actually putting up good numbers outside my Garudine and my Brave Blades. After about 1/4 of his health is done, he will start using Quad Converge, where all magic will be useless besides one element he chooses. That one element will also be slightly boosted in power. This is where things can kind of get scary, and I expected my team to get down, as the only buffs I have are from Teddy's Mata Rukaja. All of our auto buffs are gone, but as long as the MC can't die, I can usually just res my party members. Naoto and Teddy don't have their endures yet, as they aren't ranked 9, so I mostly put my Makarakons on them too, as not only is Kanji's endurance pretty good, but he's also got endure, so he can take a full hit that's supposed to just fatally kill him. If you survive the quad control phase and he ends it, he will start his hypnosis control and capture one of your members. This is kind of whatever, as whoever is captured isn't even a threat to the MC. Also, sometimes they can just hesitate and do nothing, so yeah, sometimes this part doesn't mean shit and it's nothing against you. It just kind of stalls out the fight. Once you get Kunino low enough, he'll go into his second hypnosis control phase, and that's when he got my whole party. Now normally this part also shouldn't be too bad, as I can just choose a persona that relatively blocks everything. So for the first turn, I use the Akshini for Rakunda, and they all use physical, so thankfully I took no damage. And on my second turn, I used my power charge using Centena, and they all used physical again, and it just got repelled back at them. I still didn't get out perfectly unscathed though, as Teddy hit me with a Bufala and I took a pretty decent amount of damage. But once everyone runs back to the team after breaking free, I thought the fight was in the bag. We just kept lowering him, and he didn't have much of a threatening response, especially for the MC, as again, the MC should be entirely invulnerable during this whole fight. Until I forgot that Kunino uses Almighty in the last little bits of his HP. That shit did 507 damage to me. I almost did this on a first attempt too. And then we proceed to lose like 20 more times. Yeah, I don't even know what happened. It's like every attempt something just went wrong. Like one attempt, I was incredibly close to killing him, and I made it to the final hypnosis control where he grabs all my party members. And again, all I have to do is just equip a persona that nulls or repels physical, since I don't really think the AI or Kunino use anything but physical during this phase. And my game kind of lag skipped and my frame kind of jumped on me, so I ended up selecting Fortuna on accident instead of my Virtue, who had my repel physical. And yeah, that was just cooked right there. I even tried using a Rakukaja that she just happened to have on her, but nothing was saving me there. That one was on me, I'll admit. That one was on me. But then I had other attempts where I was just getting super unlucky. Like one time, I remember setting up my Makarakons early for his quad control using Ganga. And Ganga had pretty good coverage. She blocks fire, elect, repels physical, and drain ice. So I have a pretty good line of protection against Kunino. Well, guess what Kunino used? Yeah, he used the one element she doesn't have any coverage against, wind. So yeah, obviously we died to an AoE wind attack, and yeah, that's just unfortunate right there. And after that one, I was just tired of him. I realized even if I did deal with all his magic attack shenanigans, I would still just die to Almighty at the ending before I finished him. So I finally decided to just cave in. If I go grind mirrors at Yukiko's, I can probably get so much reflected damage during his quad converge that I can hopefully just end him right there, and he won't have much health left. So with that plan in mind, I readied my mental to have to go item grind for the next 2 to 3 hours again. While I'm doing this grind in the background, you guys are probably wondering why I always go back to Yukiko's and not anywhere else whenever we need to grind for items. As I'm probably high enough level to go in Kanji's and Risei's too, where the shadows will still be small and not bother me. Well, that's not the only reason I go back to Yukiko's. As I mentioned, all normal chests carry the same loot in every dungeon for the most part. However, the pool of items only increases as the dungeon is higher level. Yukiko's always has the lowest pool, meaning it only takes me about only 3 hours or so to pull about 5 magic mirrors. And considering that, again, I don't really need a lot of normal chest loot besides supersonics, diamond shields, and magic mirrors and physical mirrors, I don't really need to get the loot from any other dungeon in this entire game. Yukiko's is all I really need, so why go anywhere else if I can just get this in quicker time? So eventually, after getting enough mirrors for Kunino, I felt comfortable and I decided to give it the run back. We start the fight as normal. We put on damage as he usually goes for AoE magic or single target attacks in the first phase. A few of us go down once the auto buffs are gone, but it's easy to bring them back. Soon after enough damage is put on him, he goes into his quad converge, so we start setting up our magic mirrors and my Makarakon from Ganga. He doesn't immediately go for his AoE magic attack. He does a bunch of single targets, which thankfully means I can just reapply the Karn or mirror if it gets used. Eventually he does let a Maziodyne rip, and oh my god, look at that damage. We do over, I want to say 2,000 damage on the boss, as he's already in his hurt animation.
Man, I should have did this shit hours ago.
I reapply the Rakunda as I have both Mind Charge and Power Charge already raring to go. I can finish this here and now. Unfortunately, before I attack him, he does get one turn, and it seems we must have skipped a lot of his phases as he's already going into his full control hypnosis on the whole party phase. We switch to Virtue as he's the safest pick right now, and I can get a Garudyne here. It does massive damage as my party members' attacks get repelled. Same as Kunino's. It's over. I switch to Orochi that's got a nice juicy Brave Blade powered up and ready to go, and I let it rip, finishing Kunino Sagiri. We only gain 1 level once again, going from 35 to 36, and wait a second, nobody else got a level? That's a bit strange. Wait a second. They were all controlled. Are you telling me they don't get EXP if they are controlled? Oh my fucking god, man. Now, I wasn't really sure about this, if them getting controlled means they were withholded from getting EXP. As most of the time, whenever I did a boss battle and I got the EXP, even if it was only 1 level up, usually everyone did get leveled up. I get Naoto not getting a level maybe because she's already kind of high, but Kanji and Teddy definitely should have got one. So I was honestly unsure, and I decided to do the fight again. This time I killed him way before his control hypnosis came out, and I was able to just beat him instantly. Take a guess, did they level up or did only you get the level up again? I'll let you guys sit on it for a second. And if you said no, it was only still you, you are correct. So Naoto makes sense, as she's already kind of a decent level, like I said earlier. But for Kanji and Teddy, they were only a few hundreds off, that's why. So I had to do this entire 10-minute fight over again for nothing.
Man, I hate you, Kunino. Genuinely.
But anyway, we saved Nanako and avoided another victim once again, so it's time for some more downtime. We max out Sun, grind down some more money at night, max out Devil, continue getting the Moon Link Arcana up, do some more fishing, sell some more useless shit, some tragic stuff happens, and we get the option to throw Namatame in the TV. We max out the full Arcana and unlock Judgment as we decide that we are finally going to reveal the truth. Nanako survives, Adachi folds with practically zero pressure, and Teddy gets maxed out. After finding out the future fate of this town and the world, we get our final deadline to clear the dungeon before the end of the month. Before heading into the TV world though, I max out the Moon Arcana and I get Naoto to rank 7. I still have the full month to max her out, as the moment we beat Dachi and Amano though, the game will time skip. So we need to use every day up until the final day of the dungeon to have everything prepared. On the 10th, there isn't much I can do in the real world as all the links I wanted to max are done. So, as we're waiting for Naoto to give us an available day in the real world, we decided to head into Adachi's for the day to get some progress done, since instead of one mini-boss, we have 2 this time before the main boss of the dungeon. Gotta admit, I always love coming to Magatsu Inaba. It's probably my favorite dungeon right next to heaven. The gold chest loot here is also really good, as you can pretty much get every good accessory in the game here. On floor 4, where we fight the first mini-boss, Chaos Fuzz, I find it funny that Adachi says we can't engage with any shadows. Yeah, so you're telling us to just keep doing what we've been normally doing this entire playthrough. Thanks, I guess. Now, on to the Chaos Fuzz. I haven't upgraded any of my builds yet because obviously I want to get some level ups before I do that. The Fuzz only have 2 moves, a physical attack in the form of a gun, and summon. Now the Fuzz will always start first, summoning another and then another. Even if your agility is faster than them, which would be Naoto since she has the highest agility in my party, it doesn't matter anyway because we're not going to be able to beat 2 Fuzzes with only 1 turn. So the lowest amount of Fuzzes we'll be able to kill is 3. That's it. My friend Banana thought otherwise. He said if I boof up you and Naoto's agility, then I should be able to kill only 2 of them before they summon the 3rd, by getting crits and getting 1 mores with down. So he went into the fight himself and had like an apt pupil build to see if you can even down them, but he tested over and over and he couldn't crit them no matter what he did. I'm just gonna guess they were made that way. Now, if they try to summon even more because you can kill all 3 of them on your same turn, then yes, that can be entirely avoided, and that is what happened to me loads of times, which means I needed to hard reset. All I had to do was just make sure I gauged the damage appropriately to make sure I didn't kill 1 Fuzz before another one got to go right after. My main issue was even though Naoto and Teddy have good AoE damage, the MC only has strong single target skills. I had AoEs back in my compendium, but not on actual good builds. So I thought I was gonna have to go back in the Velvet Room and use my Mazio Dine or my Mabufu Dine and have to make something, but it was a lot more simpler than that. I just used Orochi's raw Mabufula with a Mind Charge, and after a few attempts of paying attention to the turn order and giving damage out evenly, it worked out. I was overthinking this so hard. This takes us from 36 to 37. After that, I head home and do some more money grinding until a social bonus EXP day comes up on the forecast. Yes, I made sure there isn't a condition I need to meet this time. I made a Nozuchi to be my auto persona upgrade and a Pazuzu to be my new Rakunda user. Grind some more money for the night, and I wait for tomorrow as the forecast is skill change day again. I need to make sure that I get as much as I can on these last days of skill change and of bonus EXP during fusion. Now you're probably thinking, what am I looking for in terms of mutations, because I can't get any rank 8s like I mentioned, so I got everything I wanted out of the rank 7s, no? Well, since this is the last time I'm going for skill morphs, I did go for one more thing, Enduring Soul. I'll show you what I'll do with it later, but now's not the time. We continue spending time with Naoto and max her out, as well as getting more money. One thing I've never seen is during the final month when the fog is causing mass hysteria, and some of the bad news is dropped in your class about the state of some people, they play the track from Persona 3 actually, called Fearful Experience. I didn't even really know that because most of the time during December, I think I just beat Adachi and Amano usually. I don't even spend time doing links because mostly everything's done, but yeah, it was nice to see this. 23rd hits, so we head back into the Velvet Room and cash out on that Enduring Soul I fused. Plus, today is another bonus EXP day. This will probably be the last day we get something special from the forecast, as after this day, Adachi and Amano should be done. For my Brave Blade user, I upgrade him to an Oni, as he has Endure on him innately. So I fused Enduring Soul on him as well, and now he pretty much has 2 extra lives before we actually die. I also added Alley Dance along with Arms Master for the last slot instead of Repel Physical. Now, nearly all of the personas I make have Repel Physical on it, but he innately learns Resist Physical, and he has a counter. So I didn't really think Repel Physical would be needed here. Hopefully that doesn't bite me in the ass. He also doesn't have a weakness, so there wasn't really anything else I felt to put on him. I'm gonna need this for the upcoming boss as I use a lot, and I mean a lot, of Almighty attacks. With my setup ready, I hopped into the TV world eager to take on the envious giant. And this fight is like the worst shit ever. Like, this is deadass on the level of a final boss, actually. I think this even probably had more failed attempts than Amano Sagiri, which is also a bad fight, but we'll get to that eventually. Let me tell you what this fight consists of. So, the Envious Giant only has 2 skills, Megidolion and Tentafuru. We can barely, and I mean barely, survive a Megidolion with a Diamond Shield and full health. If we do not have both of those, we cannot survive. And currently our armor is the best it can be too. I have the +5 stats one along with Teddy. Naoto also has a plus stat accessory and pretty good armor that boosts her HP by 100 that I got from fishing trading. The only one that has bad armor is Kanji, as I was too lazy to find him another +5 stat armor, but I'll do that later. He does still have an accessory that gives him more endurance stats, so we have the best stat boosting equipment in the game right now. So if we do have that diamond shield up, yes, we can tank it. Once again, I'm not putting Tarundas on this boss because I need to be constantly using Rakunda, Power Charge, and Brave Blade with the MC. If I try to add Tarunda to that cycle, it's just not going to work. Nearly all my personas have Alley Dance on them, so with our Supersonics, we're going to need to pretty much gamble if we don't want to take any damage. Another reason why I need you sticking on these specific roles is because this giant is really hard to put damage on. Most of nearly all the elements in the game, it nulls or resists some way, so physical is the only consistent way to do good damage. As for the rest of everyone else's roles, of course Naoto's mostly going to be using Mind Charge Megiddo, Kanji is usually just going to be throwing up items, and Teddy is entirely using items and reapplying Matsurukaja. Now, even though I do get Alley Dance dodges, my Endure and Enduring Soul are still here, for the sake of like having a cushion net so I don't die, and they do get triggered very often. Most of the time I'm kind of just eating Megidolions, but it's not like he has a lot of health. Sure, the panic is annoying, but we got sodas for that. And sure, the Megidolion spam is bad, but again, we have ways to survive it. It only takes 2 party member turns of throwing up Maka leaves for my party to be at full HP again. And considering I have 4 turns, that leaves me 1 turn for still damage and another turn for still using buffs or like revive items. So I have a method to get by this fight. And again, all my party members here are rank 9 and above, so we all have Endure, and with the help of diamond shields and some lucky dodges here and there, we consistently get him constantly low. So what's the problem? Why did this take over like 30 attempts? Well, most of the failed attempts, a few of them, not most, a few of them are from just dying to Megidolion, which is like, you know, hey, that's gonna happen. But a lot of them are from his high counter triggering and repelling my Power Charge Brave Blade back at me and just killing me instantly. Of course, if he resists all magic, I'm assuming that physical should be safe without consequences. No, you dumbass kid. Say hello to high counter that is supposed to trigger 20% of the time, but instead it feels like 90. It counters right in my face as he's close to dying every time. I get so many attempts foiled that way. Remember how I said my Oni doesn't have any Fizz, Null, or Repel because I thought I'd be okay? Well, if the giant repels my Power Charge Blade and it hits me, it doesn't matter if I resist Fizz, I will just fucking die. It usually burns my Endure, or it'll just straight up kill me. I started using more physical attacks with Kanji and Naoto to maybe bait out the counter. I don't know if that works that way. If you trigger counter on other people's turns, maybe it'll stop like appearing so much for mine. With how much it was occurring, I literally had to start using Orochi instead of Oni because the Brave Blade wouldn't kill me if it got reflected while I was using Orochi, because Orochi has Repel Physical, unlike Oni. I died so many times I thought maybe I should just try to change things up and go for like Ice Break or something. I go make like a ice build and then I can use Teddy's Ice Break and we'll do our damage that way. But eventually I did get an attempt to where his high counter hardly triggered against my physical attacks and I won. So it truly seems I was just getting unlucky, I guess. Giant brings us from 37 to 44, a solid amount due to all the shit we went through, which means we're going to be fighting Adachi at 44 compared to him at level 73. This is when I realized it was time to do some grocery shopping, or hunting rather. I still had Kanji with pathetic stuff, all because I was lazy, and in order to beat Adachi along with Amano right after him, I was going to need the best stuff, along with a lot of mirrors, diamond shields, and supersonics. So I got to work for the next 4 to 5 hours completely just grinding for stuff. After I felt I had enough items for the 2 fights, it was time for my final persona builds. I upgraded my auto persona to be a Samuel, as he had better resistances and elemental immunities than my Nozuchi. And now that I was level 44, I can fuse probably the persona that's going to carry me for the rest of the game. He's usually known as a GOAT during the midpoint of the game, but you know, since we're doing a low level run, he's finally shown his face this late. The GOAT, the one and only, Black Frost. Because he's a Hexa fusion, I get 5 slots regardless if my skills are overlapping on other personas, and he doesn't even need to be a Garudyne user like the others, since he already comes with Fire Amp and Aigidyne. I gave him Fire Boost to maximize my fire damage, Alley Dance so he can dodge almighty attacks, and Repel Elect and Repel Physical so he pretty much can't get touched by any element in the game as he already absorbs fire and ice. And as an added bonus, he already innately learns Mind Charge too. I'm so glad I have the manual inheritance for this fusion because holy shit, this would have taken literally forever on real hardware. Can you imagine? But yeah, he's actually just the best persona in the game for this level. Holy shit, look at this absolute beast of a persona. Revival better keep this guy a GOAT like he is. And because I have 10 plus stats and equips, he's packing 51 magic. For a low level run, our damage is going to be very similar to if you were just playing the game normally. We are pretty much set. I head home, prepare for the final battle by stocking up on items, sell more stuff we don't need, and we are ready to go. Taking a final look at my equipment and my levels, Yu is 44, with 2 plus 5 stat boosting equips that equals to 10. Kanji is 46, and finally has good equipment with a plus 5 armor, and Lightning Vow boosting his elect damage by 40%. Teddy is level 49 with pretty much the same stuff as Kanji, with his Vow being for his own respective element. And lastly, we have Naoto at level 60, equipped with armor that boosts her health by 100 HP, and with a pretty cool accessory that boosts her stats by 4. After Adachi yaps his ass off about why killing 2 women is okay because society is high-key going brain dead, we engage with the battle that will determine the fate of the run. Adachi is kind of a stinky loser. He has absolutely no threatening skills in his bag at all. Besides his Heat Riser, I guess, which I just remove immediately anyway. But yeah, his skill pool is pretty lacking. He will just randomly try and go for single target Madoons that just don't hit. And even if they do, it's not like I don't have homunculuses out my fucking ass. He will try and maybe Evil Smile sometimes too, and follow up with Ghastly Wail, but he never gets the chance to because immediately if we get inflicted, one of our party members can just throw up a soda. Our damage is really good, like I'm actually shocked. Of course Black Frost Aigidyne with Mind Charge and Tarakaja with Rakunda is hitting like 700-ish, that's normal, but as for the rest of my party members, they're netting really good stuff. Naoto is of course getting good numbers like usual, but Kanji and Teddy are actually doing really good damage as well. It helps the fight go so much faster. Adachi will occasionally use Vorpal Blade, which can get a little scary, but as long as we have Diamond Shields up, we should be pretty good. Towards the end, I needed to switch back to my auto persona so I can have pre-buffs ready for Amano, but I kinda had issues setting that up because he started using Maziodyne, and of course, Teddy gets knocked down, so it makes it a bit difficult. But eventually, after a Megidola from Naoto, the Cabbage Man was down, getting us 1 level, 44 to 45. And luckily I did end the fight with my auto persona equipped, so we're good to go. I will be fighting the level 75 Amano Sagiri at 45, only 45. We also won't get EXP after this battle since the game kind of just cuts to the time skip, so that also sucks. Amano Sagiri is every bit as hard as I thought it was going to be. A boss with over 7,000 HP, nearly all skills in the game, almighty, and has 2 turns just like Mitsuo. Yeah, we are in for a hell of a fight. But hey, look on the bright side, at least I have one of the best tracks Meguro has ever cooked up in his career to listen to while I suffer. Turn that shit up.
Let's finish off ugly here. We ain't about to let a gross-looking eyeball do whatever it wants.
It's huge!
Let us begin.
So the thing about Amano is that it has a lot of phases and this fight pretty much just gets worse as its health gets lower. For the MC, he is only going to be using Pazuzu for Rakunda and Black Frost for Mind Charge Aigidyne. That's all we're going to be doing this entire time, besides maybe throwing up Maka leaves. I'll have to switch to Oni too if I fear for my life depending on what Amano is about to use, but besides that, that's pretty much the MC's role the entire fight. For Naoto, she's of course going to be using Mind Charge Megiddo and using items. Kanji is of course going to be using Zionga and items, and Teddy is doing the same along with his Mataru Kaja. Now the first phase of Amino is pretty okay. Since we have our auto buffs, we can survive most of his attacks. He mainly uses AoE magic and physical attacks and a light attack called God's Judgment, but it's not scary because it only cuts your EXP in half. Survivable. Now I occasionally will throw up mirrors if we have spare turns for the party. These of course are all going on Teddy first, since he's the only one with his weakness still exposed, and we'll have that exposed until the end of the game. The moment our auto buffs are gone, we use many supersonics and diamond shields we collected. Similar to the envious giant fight, as long as we have a diamond shield and full health, we should be able to survive both turns. I gotta admit though, most of our survivability depends on just what Amino decides to use, considering that it uses a lot of Almighty mixed in with magic and mixed in with basic attacks or ailments or, you know what I'm saying, like it really just depends. For example, if it decides to use 2 Megiddos just back to back like that, yeah, we're probably gonna die unless we dodge one of those attacks. My damage is still pretty good though, as Black Frost is getting around 600 to 700, so eventually we do get to Amino's first threshold, which is a scripted Nebulous Oculus. With a diamond shield up, I'm barely able to eat the Nebulous Oculus. If the follow-up right there was Megiddo instead of God's Judgment, I'm off the map. Like, I'm just straight up dead there. So you can see how a lot of these turns are really just dependent on what Amino decides to use half the time. Thankfully, it only takes 2 party member turns with 2 Maka Leaps to get the party at full HP again. Soon, after Amino takes more damage, it'll go into his Bewildering Fog phase. This is where Amino will use a status that permits the party from even interacting with it while it's doing this phase. You can't debuff them or attack it or anything like that. You just kind of have to wait. Amino not only mind charges, but it also raises its attack. We can barely survive Amino's attacks with a diamond shield, and now it's mind charge and Tarukasha. Yeah, it isn't looking very good. Before the Nebulous, I switched to Oni because I felt that even with diamond shields and guarding, the MC still might die. And I was right. Teddy's Endure was burned earlier, so he just dies instantly. Naoto and Kanji have not only larger HP pools and probably better endurance stats, so they actually are able to survive the Nebulous Oculus. And if it wasn't for my enduring soul, I also would have been probably dead. But we dodged death just to be in a worse spot. After we get the party back up, Amino does 2 Megiddos back to back, wiping everyone but the MC, who thankfully dodged both attacks. Holy fucking shit, man. I tried to get everyone back up, but again, my defense buff had reverted. So since I didn't have anything else on me, I knew my alley dance was gonna fail me eventually, and yeah, that was it for the first attempt. And then I continued to get my ass handed to me another 25 times. In every attempt on Amino that I watched for myself, I realized that all of our failed attempts were coming from the Bewildering Fog phases. The problem wouldn't even be the Bewildering Fog attack. We usually would survive it with our Enduring Soul. The issue would be the following attacks after it. Remember how I said that all of Amino's attacks are mostly random? Well, after the Bewildering Fog phases are done, it has a tendency to spam more Almighty than usual, and that's why I'm realizing that I can't get past these parts, because the chance of it doing like 2 Nebulous Oculuses in a row or doing 2 Megiddos is actually very high. So no wonder we can't get out of the first Bewildering Fog phase. Nebulous Oculus is like used every turn now after this point. But on my 32nd attempt, this was probably the best one yet. We dodged so many attacks that we actually made it to his second Bewildering Fog. I was going to do the same setup as last time, which is put up a diamond shield and guard it and use my Oni's Endure and hope for the best, since I already burned my soul on the first one earlier. But then I realized something. We ran out of diamond shields. Yeah, we put on so many diamond shields. You gotta remember that the Adachi fight still counts. It's like a 2-parter, so we already had used most of our diamond shields in the Adachi fight, and then we used all of them here, so we had none left. And since I knew that guarding is now pointless, there's no way we're gonna be able to tank this, I decided not to guard and just see if I can dodge the attack. And here's what happened. I'm gonna be honest, there's like no point of trying to tank the attack here. Even if I do tank it with my Endure, there's just no point. We just have to dodge it here. Is he Raccoon dead? I don't think he's Raccoon dead, yeah. I'll just Raccoon him here. Like, there's just nothing I can do. Like, we just have to get the dodge. If we don't, I already consider this fight as a loss. This one's a loss. So, if I get the dodge, it's like, you know, it is what it is, you know? Alright, Bufala. Here we go. Here we go. Oh my god! We got it! Holy shit, we got it. This is high Q. This is actually winnable. Hold on, this is high Q winnable. This is actually winnable now. Holy shit. He doesn't... I don't even think he has much health left either. If I can just... Yeah, this is actually winnable.
Shut your lame ass up, nigga.
Yeah, after that one, I knew the fight was doable, but I definitely needed to change my strategy or prep more. So that's what I did. I go back into my save before I went into the TV world to fight Adachi and Amano so I can get access to the shops. I used the day to buy more maca leaves. I was being stingy with my money at first, but I just blew like 60 grand on just straight up maca leaves because, yeah, at this point, why am I trying to withhold stuff? This is towards the end of the game. And then I went into the TV world and managed to snag more diamond shields, more mirrors, and more supersonics. I was about to give Amano some more attempts until I realized something. Even if we did have enough maca leaves and diamond shields and supersonics for the whole fight, it's still unlikely we would make it. I mean, sure, I got really close, but what's stopping Amano from just doing 2 almighty attacks in the same turn? We can barely survive one. Ollie dance and dodging with supersonics is way too inconsistent, and I didn't want to rely on that for pretty much the entire fight. And then I realized a skill I remembered I pulled long ago during the rank 5 pool that I discarded thinking I wouldn't need it. Firm stance. The ability to have all incoming damage at the cost of not being able to dodge. I thought some damage would be too high to even consider using this passive, but technically, if we can eat a Nebulous at full HP with a diamond shield on, along with like other almighty attacks, I mean, maybe using firm stance might be the idea. Kanji and Teddy's vows aren't doing much anyway since all of our damage is coming from Yu and Naoto. They're strictly on item duty. So yeah, this is a perfect idea. It's just, how would I get it? I know that the game does give Divine Pillars, which are firm stances in the form of an accessory. They're in Magatsu Inaba, but I have like no idea what area they're in. The website I was using for item grinding the entire run also couldn't give me an exact location of what floor has them. It just said it was there, so we have to do this the hard way. Trying every single floor in Magatsu. Yeah, that shit wasn't fun at all. I waited till I got to 10 to 12 different items from a gold chest on a Pacific floor to see if it was there. And if it didn't show up in that 10 to 12, I just moved on to a new floor. Eventually, after trying all the floors in Mandala, I moved on to Magatsu. I was dead doing the same hand motions over and over, and I felt like giving up, but I was hoping. Something in the back of my mind was hoping maybe I would be able to pull it. And then, after too many hours to count, I finally pulled the fucking item in Magatsu Inaba. I legit lost my voice from how hard I popped off. Now that I knew it was here, it didn't take me long to pull 3 more for the entire party. Now, yes, I am giving up the +5 stats for the MC, which would slightly hurt our damage input I had, but I mean, who cares? If this cuts down damage like I'm thinking it's going to, then Amano and Adachi will be, well, mostly Amano, but the fight should be tremendously much easier and manageable. And to be honest, our damage is great, but it's not, if it takes a little dip, it's not going to severely hurt. It's mostly survivability that's the issue right now. So let's see if this Divine Pillar is enough to make the difference. And oh yeah, I was definitely right. Adachi is roughly about the same, but even easier. Once our auto buffs go out and I put up another diamond shield again, we can just comfortably eat the damage. In fact, I almost was considering not even putting up another diamond shield because it seems like we can just take the damage without it. This would have made the Envious Giant a lot better. But yeah, I'm not even going to really cover this fight much as he roughly does the same things I mentioned earlier. Our damage is nerfed a bit, so I guess it does take slightly longer to beat him, but yeah, the damage is so extremely manageable, we don't even really use any buff items at all. We just take him out nicely. We make sure to switch to Samuel before the fight's over to get our auto buffs for Amano. We gain 1 level going from 44 to 45, and we're ready to take on the beast of the run. Oh yeah, and let me just say, we badly needed this. Amano's damage is so much more manageable now. It feels like I'm actually playing the game normally, as if our levels were equal to his. Even with our 5 stats gone, we still do respectable damage. So it's all good. It's almost like we never had the +5 in the first place. The only issue is that Teddy needs to have mirrors on him almost every turn, because if Amano decides to just go crazy on him with electricity attacks, well, Teddy can't dodge them anymore. But it's not like we need to use any mirrors on anyone else. And I already have like 4 or 5 of them, so that should be enough. Besides that, we do everything as normal. We keep Suku cautious on the party, even though we can't dodge, it still helps with our accuracy, and we keep diamond shields on our party as well. So that stacks with the Divine Pillars, so we can really tank some of Amano's scary phases. But yeah, thanks to the pillars, nearly all of Amano's extremely scary high damage parts are no longer a problem. Scripted Nebulous Oculus followed up by Agenestra, we eat those. First Bewildering Fog, where he's mind charged in Tarakaja against our Diamond Shield guard, we eat those. I didn't even need my Enduring Soul anymore. His second Bewildering Fog, we eat those. You get the idea. After the attacks, he takes another Aegidyne to the big ass eye, and I finally saw his hurt animation. Holy shit. After many attempts of struggling with this boss, I could finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. In his final phase, this is where Amano starts to become annoying, as he mostly just starts spamming Dakunda and Dakaja like every turn, so I have to use Mind Charge Tarakaja boosted Aegidynes without Rakunda, or he'll just remove it immediately. It doesn't matter though, he's practically only a few hits from going down. He uses Quake though, which knocks us all down, and follows up with an Agenestra that even crits Kanji. We're trying his utmost hardest to end this fight, but so are we. After an Aegidyne and a Megiddo from Naoto, we finish off Amano Sagiri at level 45. After handing Adachi to the authorities, we max out Judgment, and that is the good ending of Persona 4 right there, ladies and gentlemen. But the job's not finished yet. We have one loose end to close up to finish this run. After Teddy gets uppercutted from groping Rise and the team celebrate, the time skip happens and we're on our last day here. We say our goodbyes to our social links. Somehow our sister has God tier memory and remembers what we did here on our first day. We get the Orb of Sight and we talk to the suspiciously creepy gas station attendant that's standing in the rain. After revealing herself as Izanami, we prepare to head into Yamotsu. I grab some items like leaves and revival beads. We sell more useless shit I need for cash, and I'm off. I made a separate save here before I go in, but I don't even think that matters since the game lets you access stores from the TV world, since it's your last day at the dungeon. Yamotsu pretty much has all the best stuff in the game, just like Magatsu, but after getting the Divine Pillars we grinded for Amano, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I'm gonna be switching my equipment any longer, as the Divine Pillars clearly are going to be needed for these last final fights. As for Personas, I'll do one more upgrade, but I'm going to be rocking Black Frost until the end of the game as well. There are two mandatory fights here before Izanami, the first being Neo Minotaur. This guy only uses Fizz, so yeah, I can easily block that. Also with Divine Pillars and a Rakukaja on the party, we aren't in any serious trouble at all. His Rampage can sting, but like the worst that can happen is oh no, someone went down, and then I just revived them with like one of the 20 revival beads in my pocket. After kicking his ass, we go from 45 to 48. Kanji also learns a leg break on this level, which is going to be extremely useful for the final fight. Since we got a decent level size jump, I decided to do my final fusion of the run. As I'm just going to keep using Black Frost like I mentioned, I'm going to upgrade my Brave Blade user one more time. I fuse around the comp to get the necessary personas needed for this fusion, and then I upgrade my Brave Blade user to the elephant in the room, Giri Mikala. Now this might seem slightly pointless to make, since I wouldn't even be able to use him for Izanami, since Izanami resists physical. The only damage I'm going to be using for her is Black Frost. But this Giri Mikala could be helpful for the next mini-boss I have to do. And yeah, he'll literally be used for one final fight of the game, and that's it. The last mini-boss of the run is straight from Persona 3 FES, as this boss retains all of its skills and wasn't nerfed like World Balance. The Sleeping Table. The table uses Fire, Almighty, and Light insta-kills. The Fire and Almighty is fine since Pillars and Rakukaja are once again saving us. But it's funny because my fresh Gira Mikala, who I wanted to use for this fight, is weak to light, and I didn't even really notice. So I actually died a few times while trying to put on damage. It was starting to look like maybe I shouldn't even use Gira Mikala for this fight despite his really strong strength. But then on like the fourth attempt, I pulled through. It only used light attacks 2 times, the first time triggering my light endure that I had on Giri, but instead of following up with Megiddo and killing me, it used Maragidyne, which thankfully I blocked. The second time he used it, I wasn't on Giri, so I was pretty much good. And then we finished him off. We get our final level up of the run, going from 48 to 50. So 50 will be the final level of the run. That is a 40 level gap from Izanami, by the way, who's sitting all the way at a comfortable level 90. Before we fight Izanami, I do my final item grind of the run for Diamond Shields, Supersonics, and Mirrors. I made sure to do as much as possible so we don't run out like we did with Amano. Looking at our final levels, we got Naoto at 63, Kanji at 51, Teddy at 54, and finally the MC at level 50. So, let's send this run home. So I had a lot of failed attempts, but not really on the level of Amano or the Giant and Megatsu. These are more just attempts that were failures because I kind of messed up, so I'll just cover the good attempt. The first phase is usually just Megidolion and some Dyne spells. She always opens up with Mazio Dyne first, so I guard with Teddy to avoid the one more. But overall, the process of getting rid of her first phase is pretty straightforward. I'm really glad I decided to grind those Divine Pillars, because most of her damage can be survived as long as we have a Rakukaja up and a Divine Pillar. Once her HP is gone, she's impervious. It will take a few turns for the MC to use the Orb of Sight, so I try to set up Karns and Mirrors on my party for her Phase 2 transition, as when she gets into her Phase 2, there's a particular skill we can reflect back at her for massive damage. After a Mind Charge Megidolion, which we tank using Guard and a Diamond Shield and our Divine Pillars, we throw up the Orb of Sight and start Phase 2. Now Phase 2 has a lot of HP to get through, 8,000 just like Amano, and considering I still have a limited amount of resources, I don't want to repeat an Amano situation. Thankfully, there's a way we can clear about half of Izanami's HP by using her AI to our advantage. First off, she will always open up with a Mazio Dyne the moment she gets into Phase 2, just like Phase 1, except this time she adds Mind Charge to it. Now, normally we can just repel this damage, but in this form she absorbs electricity. This is where, remember how I mentioned Elect Break on Kanji? Yeah, it comes in clutch. By using Kanji's Elect Break and the mirrors on the whole party, we can get over 3,000 reflected damage on her. And considering that she's very tanky and we don't have a lot of resources to completely dish out damage that long, I think that doing this is almost required for a low level run. After reflecting all that damage, it's just your classic Persona combat. Heal when you're injured, make sure you keep that Raccoonda up, and go for as many Mind Charge attacks as possible. Kanji and Teddy keep buffs up and make sure that my party's HP always is at full, and me and Naoto are going for damage. At one point she debilitated me, and I didn't have a Rakukaja on the MC, and I was literally like inches from dying, like literally inches. So yeah, we constantly need to make sure we have buffs up. The scariest part is probably making sure the world's end doesn't hit me so I don't get inflicted with ailments and die from Summons to Yomi. Summons to Yomi insta-kills anyone who's inflicted with an ailment. She puts a stagnant air on the party to increase the chance of ailments connecting, and then she Mind Charges. Thankfully I guard though, and the world's end also doesn't do too much damage, and we don't get inflicted with any ailments. It's a very long fight and tiring, but our methods seem to hold up. We continue doing Aigi Dynes with Black Frost, and everyone sticks to their roles, and eventually she gets lower and lower. And after surviving a Fury of Yasogami with barely any HP, we drop our Mind Charge Aigi Dyne and...
Goodbye.
Come on, get up! Please get up! Kanji! No!
Persona!
All yours! No! What? Don't give in! Please get...
It's unfortunate that our battle must end this way.
Get up! We came so far!
As we die, we hear the voices from all our friends we made along the way. And because friendship can never be defeated, we get the ultimate power, Izanagi no Okami. Yes, guys, it is possible to beat Persona 4 at the lowest level, 50. For anyone who's curious, here's my total EXP amount I gained from all mandatory battles, with only 4 of it being optional. How long the run was? Well, on my save it says 120, but my emulator shows my real time. It's about 205. Now I think I could have did this as a mandatory battles run as well. It just would have been a lot of more item grinding, and I mean a lot of more item grinding, so I kind of just wasn't interested in that. Everything used to make this run possible is in the description, so make sure you check that out if you want to see the playlist of all my raw footage, and the music I used too. I appreciate all the support recently. Thanks for 16k going on 17. Check out my Twitter if you just want to see me yap about Persona hot takes. Memberships are up again, so if you want to support the channel and get vid access early, feel free to help your boy out. And yeah, I'll be back with some more uploads in a few weeks. Oh yeah, one last thing. After I had finished this run and I was feeling all accomplished and giddy, I talked with some people in the Persona speedrunning Discord so I can get some advice on the next run I'm working on. And the topic of my low-level run came up. And there's some good news and bad news. The good news is I truly did the lowest possible level, as 50 is the absolute lowest you can be for Persona 4. This means my run was successfully completed. The bad news is, how is that common knowledge? Shouldn't I be the only one who knows that? Well, the run was actually already completed 13 years ago from a guy called Kotun. I had to translate the page because at first I couldn't read it because it's all in Japanese, but from the final fight you can see that their level is 50. So I really wasn't the first one to do this. Sheesh, I can never win, can I?